Rob, I'm so excited to have you here today. You are the president and CEO of Eland. You raised capital. You personally went and raised capital to buy the wholesale lender once you became more familiar with the broker channel. That means you're all in, you're invested in the broker channel. Under your leadership, you guys have seen 900% growth in the wholesale channel in only 2 years. In Q4 of 2025, you guys funded $1.3 billion, and you are a near scratch golfer. Thanks for being here today, man.
Oh man, Sam, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Which one takes more time, golfing or being a CEO?
Well, they have a inverse relationship. So the more CEO work I'm doing, the less opportunity I have to golf. So the handicap is moving up lately, but I haven't been playing enough to warrant a full scratch these days. But I can still hit the ball around a little bit.
That's funny. Rob, you've held every position in the industry. You've been a loan officer, branch manager. You've done literally everything, and you're CEO now. Which one is the most fun position?
Whew, that's a great question. So obviously, I learned the hard way, like the fastest way to get a significant pay cut is to leave origination, right? You're always in origination, and like you always think of it like, oh, I'll just go into, everybody wants to move into management or do that. And that's like the fastest way to get that pay cut. But for me, like a real kind of eye-opening moment and life-changing moment for me was having the opportunity when I had absolutely no knowledge of it, but to run capital markets for AFR back in the day. In 2010, I got an opportunity to run capital markets. I dove in, and that was the most fun because it was something I got to learn about. And as this whole kind of world changed of how MBS worked and how hedging worked and how things were kind of happening in the mortgage market, I got to learn about it firsthand, lose a bunch of money, by accident, and then make a bunch of money by accident. But we got to learn that, and that capital markets piece, I would say, is probably the biggest contributor to where I've been able to go in my career.
Amazing. And can you give us a quick summary of like your career progression? Because you've done some really impressive stuff. Like this is not the first company you've ran.
Yeah, so it's been a crazy ride for sure. I mean, I started as an originator like 100 years ago. So I got the full taste of origination, and then got to run a group of retail originators. I got to run an internet group back in the day before the internet leads were cool. It was called Internet Marketing. And it was the company that I'm at now that we were able to purchase. But back in the day, I started in 2003 with them. And it was a small little broker shop, basically. We got to grow this internet marketing group, and we ended up becoming the entire origination channel. They opened up a wholesale channel as well, but we focused in on the consumer direct and retail, we would call it, through internet marketing, lending tree, and kind of doing our own SEO and driving a lot of traffic. So I got to run that portion of it, the front side of it, then got to run all of operations and sales for that group. Then we got to around 2007, 2008, when all the stuff was going down from the crisis, I had an opportunity to buy into the company. So I begged, borrowed, and stole everything I could to come up with the money to buy in, and I bought into the company. And at that time, I got to turn over and start to run capital markets. I was asked to run capital markets, and like I mentioned, that was the kind of life-changing moment where I got to learn a little bit about everything in the capital markets world. I got to learn about mortgage accounting and how things work, and it's very, very weird. That's all I'll say. I'll call it weird. And then once that occurred, and got to run the capital markets group, I was put back in charge of running the consumer direct division for AFR, and that's when we changed actually a name to Eland. We created Eland back then in 2015, 2016, and grew that quite a bit. We were up to 200 million a month of origination in the consumer direct channel, and wow. Then I got to I still oversaw capital markets, ran that, and ran strategy for the company while we were kind of doing some road shows to raise capital or potentially sell. And then in 2017. Man, I'm old. I'm talking like I'm that guy on the PowerPoint that has this like long history. But in 2017, we ended up not selling the company, and I really wanted to grow the company. And I was a smaller shareholder. The CEO at the time, which was a majority shareholder, I mean, the company was doing well. We were doing a lot of loans, and they kind of didn't want to grow as much. So we had an amicable split, and I was able to sell my shares of the company back. and went to run originations for a company called Ditech. So I got to run correspondent, retail, and the wholesale business over at Ditech, and we grew that that division from 500 million a month to 1.5 billion a month quickly over 15 months, and then sold to New Res. It was a cleanup job for the it was supposed to be only about a 6-month project, turned into 15 months. We ended up selling, and then that's when I opened up a brokerage. So I went all the way back from doing 1.5 billion in volume a month to doing like 1.5 loans a month and opening the brokerage, and back to the origination and get the roots, because I felt like I had been disconnected from the origination side, and I recognized that. So opening the brokerage, partnering with Sean Hammond, and then we ended up bolting on that brokerage with some loan originators to U Mortgage at that time, and we were in the in the works of potentially raising capital because of the fact of being in the broker channel and running a small broker shop and having these other jobs. I kind of got to see the other lenders and what they were providing to the broker channel, and I was like, man, I think we can do better than this if we find a target that we can potentially buy. And a friend ended up leaving PennyMac, going to a fund. He called me up, said this fund is interested in buying an originator. Do you know anybody? And I was like, hey, wait a second. Let me call the guys from AFR that I sold to, and I know they were trying to sell for a while. And then we started talking. It took about 14 months or so, and then we were able to work out a deal. We closed and purchased AFR in February of 24. We just had our 2-year anniversary of the acquisition. So wow. Long-winded story of saying that of then getting the opportunity to be CEO of this, and kind of putting my money and all my talk about what I think I can do, and had to put it into action and execute. And that's what we're seeing right now with wholesale and kind of the growth that we've seen at Eland recently.
That's incredible journey. And I actually did not know that like you started your own broker shop just to like get back into the grassroots. Was that like, were you thinking at that time, I'm just going to do loans, or was it always just like, I want to learn again what it is, but I'll get back into?
Yeah, I always knew how do I say it? Like, I don't want to say it in a bad way. I'm not a very good originator. Like, I know too much about the back end, and like my skill set is really about in the capital markets, how the industry works operationally, like building things. So like, I knew that I just didn't, I was just disconnected. I wanted to understand the technology that's available, the lenders that are available. And then if I liked it, I would have kept doing it, and maybe we grow that company into something. But quickly, after working with different lenders and seeing how good some of the lenders are and how bad some of the lenders are that you work with on a daily basis, it opened my eyes to say, holy cow, of all the opportunities, this is the one I think is the best. And I genuinely fell in love with the broker channel. So when I opened up my broker shop and joined these different groups, and like back in the day when I was in the origination side, like it was all siloed. If you were a broker, there was no like community and like this build up of the broker channel. You were kind of like shunned, especially post crisis. You were like, there was no groups like this. So kind of jumping into that community, meeting people, getting to be friends with people, and having this like genuine like love for the broker channel and the entrepreneurial spirit of the broker owners and people in that channel. I said, like, this is it. Like, I feel like if we do it right, we can do something special. So after kind of going that full circle kind of moment, it really opened my eyes as like being a broker and just having everything rely on other lenders to do things. We said, this is something that we can do and do it better, because we've been there, and very few of the wholesalers out there have leadership that have just done it. And so I thought this was a really good opportunity for us.
You're absolutely right. And the broker channel is incredible. For the right person, there's nothing better. And I'm so glad you're in the industry right now, because the broker channel is getting the growth, and it needs the right partners to grow. And to this day, it's getting better, but there are still not as many players. Like every broker owner I know is saying like they want a partner on the wholesale channel, because it's tough for broker owners. They're very independent by design. They're entrepreneurial, but doesn't mean they don't want resources. They don't want partners. I'm curious, what was your moment? Like, what was it that you saw while you were a broker that you're like, the wholesale channel is the opportunity? And what did you decide was going to be your differentiator?
Yeah, I'll start with just seeing the big guy in the room. So seeing the UWM, the way that leadership runs things, the way they are, it's clear they have incredible success. And you have Rocket on the other side of that. You can't look at it going like, if we started kind of from scratch, I know we had a company that was doing loans, but if you started at the smaller loan level volume that we were doing, like you can build some cool stuff. So we knew that in technology, we can catch up quickly to where those guys are. Yes, they've built amazing systems, but they've also been around for quite some time and have been able to grow things and have this huge juggernaut of a business. We thought we can kind of step in, continue to build what we know for the modern originator and build something that's special. And as they get better, and they've pushed us a ton to continue to build great technology. I looked at the other lenders that are out there and saw a giant void of investment in the channel. There's a ton of companies out there. I'm not knocking them for this. I get it, because I could have done the same thing. You can walk in, open up a wholesale channel, use the out-of-the-box solutions from an Encompass and TPO Connect and all the other bullshit that you get, and make some money. And you can keep your costs low. You can just throw human capital at loans, and you know, it's like a side business, a side gig for a lot of companies. They'll have a retail channel, or they'll have a consumer direct channel, and they'll kind of just like, hey, we'll start wholesale on the side here. So when you have a lack of investment from a significant percentage of the lenders that are out there towards the channel, there's opportunity. So we said, hey, this is the plan. We told our investors, like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to, you know, we're going to buy the company, and we're going to invest in technology and build things on our own. That's going to be the differentiator, because so few people can control the experience that the broker has. And we can, through technology and that portal that we've been building and enhancing, we have the ability to control the experience. And then you kind of layer on top of that the capital markets knowledge. And we brought on this incredible capital markets team. We were punching way above our weight initially. I mean, we brought on the best of the best that were like, hey, we need more loans to be able to securitize and make more money. And we were ahead of it with that team. So we brought them on and grew and kept our internal team as well, and used that as the differentiator. We're one of the few companies on the wholesale channel that takes all of the opportunities in the capital markets world and secondary markets and passes that through in the rate sheets. Very few do it. A lot of people get the loans, turn around and sell them and make more money if they have the loans. We find the axes on the street first, and then turn around and pass it through to the front end. It's a little bit of risk, because you have to, you know, hope that the originations come, but they have. So we use that as our differentiator. So our technology with our capital markets team is how we stand out.
I will put a note, especially on the capital markets and your rate sheets. In my branch, you guys got about 40 to 60% of our business, because not only did you guys just have smoking rates, but you also were extremely good in doing deals. Like, we could trust you. And I will say there's very few people that have this ability to maintain a relationship. Like, if we called our account executive, if we had a problem, we knew it would get solved, and we had people on our side, not against us. So I just wanted to share that as well, that like, there's some amazing things that you guys are doing. And from the outside, it explains your massive growth and success.
Yeah, thank you. And it's really important, because it is partnership. People forget that. It's very difficult to have a partnership when you do one loan a quarter with a lender. When you have a partnership and you need something and need help, well, we're there. Like, we're there for you. And like, we have a very flat organization. We don't have this like layers upon layers upon layers. In fact, each one of our management or leadership team, they have to be involved in talking to customers. Like, everybody, there's none of this disconnect that you get, and the people that you're talking to can make a decision and push something quickly. This isn't I hate to say it, but a lot of companies have like just email forwarders, like they'll do, that's all you're saying. They can't do anything. They have no pull. They have no say in what to do, but we want to give everybody a little bit of opportunity. If you need a little exception for pricing, the team has the ability to do it themselves. They have to go through 4 levels of approval to get it done. We get it. And when partners ask us, I always say the same thing. When I get an email and there's this like typical LO kind of dramatic email, it's like this long, and it tells you there's moving trucks and the guys are moving, the seller has to be in China in a week and has to close, and these people are going to be homeless, and you have this, and the realtor's never going to send you another deal, and it's like that long. not that I don't have empathy for what's going on, but you're a trusted partner. Take out this whole thing. And if you're sending me a note saying, I need help with this, I trust enough that you're not sending me a note unless you need it. And it's there. And I trust you enough that I'm going to get it done. So save the giant thing. I'll be able to read more emails that way. Just tell me what's needed. You're a partner. We'll get it done to the best of our ability and compliantly, and we'll get it done for you. And that's the approach we've been taking.
And I vouch for that. I have been on the receiving end of that help and the person sending those long emails. Your growth isn't just because you're getting more brokers. It's part of it, but it's because your brokers are growing with you. What have you been seeing that's working for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there is an extraordinary group of brokers that work with us quite a bit, and we're watching them and seeing what they're doing and trying to support them in any way we can. And really, it's sad. I hate to say it's sad. You get this too. You understand this in your roles that you've had, and it's about the accountability pieces and doing the actions. And you see the folks that are not caught up in like the macro things that you have no control over. Yeah, they talk about them and do whatever. They're not like sitting there staring at CPI today and they're going to talk about it for 4 hours like I am. No, they're out there and they're like, okay, that's great. Here's another moment in time I can go out and market myself and be present to the people that are going to send me loans. Let me do revenue generating activities no matter what happens during the day. And that's the win that you see. And the folks that are online and complaining about stuff or complaining about rates or this or that, they're not winning. And you're seeing these numbers that some of these originators, I love social media. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, the LO's posting, like, why do they post their volume or do whatever? I love seeing it. It from my side of it and from a consumer side of it, that success means that I want to work with that person. I want to, like, you see someone help 100 families in the year or 150 families in a year. You're like, holy cow, like that guy that's an incredible business itself. So like they get it. But really, it's I hate to say it's dumbed down to solely doing the activities that generate revenue, and those that are hell-bent focused on that every single time, no matter what, they're the ones that have seen this like 100-200% growth in their own origination business. It's incredible because there's so many distractions today for loan originators to go down whatever rabbit hole you want to go down, whether it's through politics or through the stuff with mortgages or whatever it is. The guys that are just sitting down and getting their work done, they're able to gain share against those guys that are not out there doing that and spending half their time on things that are not revenue generators.
You started to answer the second question I was going to ask. Because you have such high visibility on a lot of brokers, are you starting to see a big gap that's growing between the ones that are doing this revenue generating activities and not? And is that gap growing like fast?
It is. Yeah. People, as real estate agents kind of get phased out and the people that are doing, the like onesie, twosie kind of originators are kind of staying there or losing a little bit of share. And the ones that are doing those activities, and you see it significant, like this significant growth, especially with all the access now we have. It could be that maybe it's just because we can see it all with Redder and MMI and these other data points, so you can kind of see where things are happening. But for me, I focus in on folks that are actually doing business. There's a lot of people online and on social that talk and talk, and will use weird tactics to try and recruit and do whatever. And then you watch them and you see their production, and you're like, oh, holy cow, like they should not be talking. Like there is, and that's nice about what we're seeing in this environment, is that you get to kind of validate when people are being loud or have questions or whatever it may be, by like, it's not necessarily just volume, but it's how many people they're helping, how many people on their team are being helped by their actions. So paying attention to that, and you definitely are seeing a gap where those that are doing the activities are the ones that I see that are consistent in their approach, specifically around social and that piece of it. They're growing, significantly.
And part of that, like you said, sales activities, and I want to go deeper into that revenue generating activities. There's so many ways to make money, to get loans in our industry. You have people that are social media heavy, people that are agent referral heavy, people who are direct to consumer, people that are just staples of their community, the pillars of their community. Are you seeing any shift in what's working and what's not working?
There's obviously social is a way to go, and probably what we see the most, and we see a lot of that interaction on social, being present on social, commenting and being around people that are in the demographic to potentially purchase a home or be around it. So like you do see that in terms of the activities, and then you kind of see this a resurgence of some old school. And I say that being like a resurgence in like face to face, and a resurgence in these kind of meetups or in these conferences that you're seeing, and or running events. And you're starting to see that, like, in this day and age, if you're, I'm not saying an age, but if you're of an older mindset, you can have success face to face, because this newer generation is like not into that. Right? They're like avoiding that part of it, and you have an opportunity there as well. So you kind of see this, there's an avenue for everybody. There's so many different ways to approach it. What you can't do is a little bit of it all. That doesn't work. You kind of have to pick a lane and really dive into that lane, and spend a lot of time doing it. Do a ton of events, continue to meet up, use the relationship piece over time. That will pay off. Or spend your time and do your social and do the things that they're going to be present. I do like the social aspect of it, because of the fact that for me, I use it, and I still get like DMs nonstop from friends, family, and people that are just in my connections about mortgages. They ask me to do a mortgage, even though I don't do mortgages per se. I get, I would say 5-10 messages a month, just because they're like, hey, could they just see what my posts are, even though they're geared towards mortgage professionals, about rates and about what's going on, and some stupid AI illustrations they don't even engage in my post. But I'll be, playing basketball in the community, and someone goes, hey, by the way, I might be buying something. Can I work with you? And they talk to you about that, or hey, what's going on with interest rates? Well, I saw you post about them. So just being present and being there, you start to see a lot of that activity come in, and then you decide what to do with it there. But those that are consistent in their lane are absolutely crushing it.
The nugget that I want to reemphasize again is that there's a million ways to get business. The only way you can't get business is if you do a little bit of everything. Like find what works.
Nothing. Yes.
Or do nothing. I guess there's two ways. Yeah. So find what works for you, and just like keep doing that, and like you'll get better at it. And like you said it perfectly. Like there's people, I know people who are doing 50, 60 loans a month from events, just events. Yeah. And then I also know people that are doing 50, 60 loans a month from realtors alone. Or 50, 60 loans a month from direct to consumer. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, you're good at it. So keep doing that.
Consistency is, I say it all the time when I try to explain to people about that exact point, is that if you went and I did one post a week on social, I sent one letter out to potential referral partner, I did one event every quarter, and I made, one day a month, I would make some cold calls. I would be better off standing in the front of my community 8 hours a day with a sign that says, I do mortgages. You would get more loans by standing out there consistently with a sign as people drove past you than you would if you did a little bit of everything. The consistency of it matters more than what it is, as long as you're doing that activity all the time. And that's something that when I see someone that's like, oh, I'm working my butt off, and I only got like one pre-approval, you're not working that hard. You're working. You're not working efficiently, and you're not working smart. You just got to be consistent in what you're doing and do one thing really well.
That's so good. I want to switch gears a little bit and see how you guys at Eland are serving your broker partners and helping them grow, because they're obviously out there doing the work. Where do you guys come in what you guys do for them?
Yeah, it's focused on the partnership, having some products. We were known as a niche lender, so it's like it takes a lot to get someone to send us like a regular deal. Like I call it like a regular loan, a conventional loan, or FHA loan, anything with a decent FICO. It takes a while to earn the trust of somebody who is used to sending it to one of the big guys, because that's what they do, right? There's habits, and unfortunately, some people stick to their habits no matter what. But for us, it's been about education and putting it out there, saying, hey, look, our price is going to be great. We're going to be consistent with our operations, and we're going to be very open and honest when we do fail. Like, we blew up operations a couple times. Like, I messed up setup. Like, I 100% admit that. We messed up underwriting. We thought we can handle more than what came in. Like, we've lived it, learned, and made changes. We've gotten feedback from our partners and have made changes. That part of it, I got a DM on a Tuesday morning last month I mean, towards the beginning of the month, and it was a Tuesday morning. I got a DM about a one data point they would like to see in their, in when you open up the portal. And I was like, man, that's a pretty good point. Like we don't show this date in here, and we should. It was estimated closing date actually. So I was like, we should probably move that. So I sent in a note. Developers put in, boom. On Thursday, it's live.
Wow.
That doesn't like that's the kind of partnership when you get a great bit of feedback. And if I were a lender, generally most of the lenders aren't listening, right? They choose to put their head in the sand and just do it their own way, or they're using an out-of-box solution that you have to. If I were to be in, let's just use the Encompass environment with Encompass portal, and I needed to make a change, I would send that in, and I would probably get an answer whether they would do it or not in 6 months. Not developed and put out and deployed in 2 days. So that part of it, I think, is a big deal for the originators. They're heard. So once you get somebody that makes a suggestion, you make the change and you say, thank you, by the way, that was awesome. It went live today. They're like, holy shit, wait a second. It's like you're listening and want, like you want my feedback. I'm like, of course, you're in the front lines. Like I need to know what makes your job easier. If this is one little thing that makes it easier to work with us, we're in, we'll build and we'll do it. So obviously that's a small project. There's some bigger projects underway, but that piece of it, I think, goes a long way with the originators. Am I able to personally answer every single message as we grow to, the billions a month? Probably not, but I'm going to, try really hard to. I feel like that connection is a big piece of why people want to work with us, because they know they have access to the team and the executive team, and we're like sleeves rolled up working with them.
Yeah, I think that's such a good example of what stands out to me is that like people can DM you, and like you're right. You don't have the bandwidth to do it. You're a CEO of a big company, but you still go through it. You make a point of doing it. It's not some like just an assistant going through. You're like, yeah, yes, no, yes, no. You're going through it, and you're actually thinking about the suggestions. Like, this is good. Let's make the change. If one person's saying it, more people are like needing it as well. And that cannot be understated. And like that just goes through the rest of the organization. If the top person, if the CEO has it, everyone else is going to have it as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to have my team work so hard. They work so hard. I know sometimes people think that like the underwriter doesn't care about their stuff, or the account manager doesn't really care. They're not responding. They're working their butts off. If they're not able to get back to you, it's my fault for having a bad process that they can't communicate that moment in time. But I guarantee you my team knows that like I'm not sitting, golfing over here in the middle of the day and sending a note saying, hey, you better go do this and fix this, or not answering a message from anybody. No, I'm on. And no one's going to outwork me at this organization. And I don't need them to work this much. I get it. But I want them to just know that I'm there. I'm not going to be, in some ivory tower saying, just yelling, orders down. That's just not how it works. And the DMs and the messages and the communication, like people are like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. I was like, bother me away. Like I'm not physically going into Encompass or into our portal and making a change in the loan file. Like I'm not, like if there's a question on the stuff, our team is handling. They're unbelievable on the execution side. So ask away, and then we'll figure it out. Or if some feedback, we want to hear it all. And again, I can respond to everything for now. And I think I have a little bit of runway to go as we go. And we just launched a community on Facebook to help with some of this as well, to kind of centralize some of the communications and have people learn a little bit about us. So we just launched that, and I think that's going to be a big driver of our business in the future.
I love it. I love it. What is the North Star for you guys in terms of broker experience? Like if you could create the perfect broker experience, what would it be? Yeah.
So again, really good question. Well, I didn't get prepped for this beforehand, just so you guys know, anyone that's watching. So these are great questions. The North Star for us and from a broker experience is the ability for the broker to push a loan through as much as possible without human interaction, right? Like how can we get it where it's solving the issues along the way in the technology roadmap, and you're able to register, price, and lock, optimize your lock, meaning that it's going to tell you whether or not you're structuring this right, not just with programs, but like loan balances, the note rate. Like, hey, wait a second, did you know if instead of 251 on the loan balance, we made it 250, you'll get a quarter extra credit. So it makes sense to do that. So making sure you have a smart, logical pricing engine that is utilizing AI to be able to give you the best product, and then get that loan to disclosure and submitted and an approval without any human interaction. If something were to pop up, that's where it's an exception-based human interaction that then you step in. But for us, we want to have the broker have a seamless experience all the way through to closing, where it's digital, it's all in front of you, and then we're pulling in source data to make it really easy for the originator to kind of set it, put it in, and it flows through the system without any friction. So that's what we're building. And each piece of the process is way harder than I thought it would be, but we've been building these things, and at least when the stuff that's happening in the background we're building out the architecture underneath to make sure it can do this. So that's we don't just make a change in the system, we make a change in the overall architecture of what we have to make sure we can do it. But that's where we're going. That's what we want. We want to have brokers be able to compete with the big guys. They're gonna, like, Rocket's not going to slow down their spending. UWM's not going to slow down their spending. I don't even know they're wholesale, but like the CCMs of the world aren't going to slow down their spending, and they're going to try and get to where they need to be from the technology perspective. So we want to provide that to independent originators out there, and that's it for us. So I want people to say, like, if you took all of the tech and all of the process stuff out, like the true North Star is a broker. I want them to say, I trust Eland. Like, I know I can send it to them and they'll get it done for me. Like, that's all I want. If that's the end of the day, they say, it's great, it's easy, I love using them, that makes my day, and that's everything that we're trying to build.
Yeah, as you were saying it, I was thinking, like, the process you're explaining is everything as an originator I want. It's consistent, it's reliable, and it's easy, smooth to use. And, like, at the end of the day, like, there's nothing that beats that.
Yeah, you see it, and it's hard. It's hard to have a consistent experience, right? Because there's still people. There's lots of people involved, and we'll always have people involved. But it's very hard to have consistency, and I think that's where I struggle the most from a leadership perspective. Is like how sometimes one person, even within the same company, can have an experience that's so good, and then you look in the other one, and you have an experience that it didn't meet their standards, and you're like, everything was the same on this. It's just like how does that happen? So we go back to training, go back to figuring out how to make sure everybody is doing it the right way and the same way if possible. And that part's it's not the easiest to manage, but we've been working through it, and our team has done a great job of kind of changing their mindset of how they used to do things.
Amazing. Rob, we're coming up on time. Can loan officers reach out to you or Eland?
Yes, of course. So on social, I'm at Rob Pieklo, on Instagram, on Facebook. Please find me. We also just launched Eland Engage. This is not a broker specific thing. In fact, I encourage anybody that wants to jump on to go in there and learn a little bit about the business. It's about kind of tracking marketplace rates, and also kind of questions that people have about, servicing rights, about loans, about the industry, how things work in mortgage. We'll go over like earnings reports of public companies, lots of fun stuff. So like Eland Engage is a great place to go. So if that's probably the starting point, or you go to our site, Eland or elandtpo.com, and find us. And otherwise, you can find me on social. I don't hide. So I'm out there. If you just search my name on any of the platforms, I'm there.
Yeah, I will say we've known each other for years, but I did schedule you for the podcast through Instagram. So you are on social.
That's it. Probably too much time on social, but yeah, I'm there.
Thank you, Rob.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you.